What's up, everybody? It's your pal, the Mayhem. So I had one more video in me tonight, waiting for the melatonin to kind of kick in. Um, Hold on, yeah, camera's good. So somebody on Facebook actually asked me, someone who subscribed to my channel, they asked me, what were you like in high school? And I was just like, oh my goodness, that was such a long time ago. That was 9 years ago. So, figured I'd share that with you guys. Like, what was the Mayhem like in high school? So, I went to high school 2004 to 2008, and one thing about me was I was in marching band. Uh, I'll actually put a thumbnail of that in the description. You can see what I look like. Yeah, I was in marching band. I went to Lake Howell High School. We were the Silver Regiment, and it was kind of cool. I went to band actually in middle school, and I played the regular clarinet. And then when I got to high school, I played the bass clarinet, and I was all right. I was pretty mediocre at it. Band for me was more of a social thing. It was more of a way to make friends. It wasn't really about, um, you know, playing an instrument so well that I could get a college scholarship and shit like that. It was more just about, eh, I'll just do something in high school, keep me out of trouble, and make some friends. Band is full of some of the most interesting people you will ever meet. You had people from all demographics in our band. And our high school in general had a lot of different people. It was a mostly white high school in the suburbs. You had your niche groups, like you had your redneck kids, you had your preppy kids, you had your gangsta kids, you had your goths and emos and theater kids, and those are the ones I typically hung out with the most, aside from my band friends. I would say in ninth grade, I was still trying to find myself. I tried to act gangsta. I wore like baggy clothes, and I had an afro, and the afro was cool. I was pretty popular because of my afro. I even had a pick in my hair, and girls in the hallway would always want to touch my hair. They'd always want to run their hand through my hair, and I was kind of a mini celebrity in high school because of that. It was kind of cool. I was always made to sit in the back of the classroom though, because people couldn't see past my head. It was kind of funny. Um, 10th grade, I would say I became more of a hothead. I had little patience for bullshit. People who tried to like give me a hard time. People knew not to fuck with me. I'll just put it to you that way. People knew that I had the nerd rage thing about me, and people would steer clear of trying to piss me off. Um, but I wasn't mean all the time. I tried to appease everybody, and I think that was my biggest mistake. I think that was my naivete in being in high school, and I think we're all a little naive in high school that we think any of that shit fucking matters. But I try to appease everybody, and I try to be on everyone's side, and I try to be everybody's friend. But it just became too stressful and too much work, and I just realized, man, high school is full of bunch of shitheads. Like, why am I trying to get these people to like me? Why do I even care if these people like me? And I think that was my main struggle in high school. I had nobody to tell me, hey man, none of this shit matters. Don't even worry about it. I wish older me could have talked to younger me, and I think I would have had a lot easier time. Um, Junior year, that's when I started to realize, man, this is all bullshit. This is all bullshit, man. Like when I was in band, I used to work really hard to get the band director to like me and stuff like that. Uh, and then I realized, wow, no matter what I do, like they're always going to favor the rich kids or the band parents that pay the most money, because those are the ones who are going to get the accolades. Those are the ones who are going to get the leadership positions. I can work as hard as I want, but I'm never going to get the leadership positions. For those of you who don't know, there's leadership positions in band. Like there's drum major, there's field commanders, there's operations officers and stuff like that. I was an operations officer simply because I was the most experienced person my junior and senior year to do it. So they just appointed me operations officer, which basically just means you were leader of the loading crew, and you were in charge of setting stuff up. You were in charge of just making sure things ran on time, and that was my primary duty. Um, our band council meetings were shit shows because nobody respected me, and I demanded respect. I didn't take shit from people in band. There's a lot of snot-nosed punks in band. I sound like an old fuck when I say stuff like that. Junior year, I started to settle down, and girls actually started to like me. I was not a ladies' man in high school. I was really chubby, really awkward, and very emotional. And when you have the trifecta of those three things, you don't really do well with ladies at all. Senior year, I could say that I was pretty successful with ladies. That's when I started to figure out, man, this is bullshit, and apathy works, and being distant actually served me, when it came to talking to girls and stuff like that. I already mentioned my girlfriend back in high school that cheated on me because she's a huge piece of shit, so I'm not going to go too much into that. Maybe I'll make a video about that later down the road, like explaining what happened. But it's not really worth it. She's a piece of shit, fucking psycho bitch. Now I'm not saying that anybody who cheats doesn't have a good reason. I mean, she didn't have a good reason. She was just trying to be a piece of shit. She was literally just trying to hurt me at that point. There are times when people just don't want to hurt the other person, so they don't want the other person to find out. Or maybe they secretly do want them to find out, but this bitch was literally just trying to hurt me. She was trying to manipulate me and hurt me, and I'll never forgive her for that. Because I had a couple years of depression after that. What was something else about me? I really the music I liked was I really liked the Gorillaz. I've liked the Gorillaz ever since I was a little kid, and I also obviously I liked 50 Cent. I liked Paul Wall, Slim Thug, Lil Jon and East Side Boys. I was a huge Lil Jon fan before he got into EDM, and I love EDM, so that works for me too. I was also into techno. I liked Cascada. I liked Alice DJ and all that good stuff. Every time we touch, na, 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 na. Yeah, I was into that kind of stuff. And Darude Sandstorm and Zombie Nation and all that good shit. I was really into techno. I was really into techno before EDM was even a thing. I was always into electronica music. I think in my junior year actually, that's when I started getting into Bob Marley, which attracted stoner chicks, but I didn't really smoke pot, so it didn't really it didn't really go anywhere. We would just sleep around a few times, and then that would call it a day. And then they would get mad, and they would get fucking. Who did I hang out with? I hung out with mainly the goth girls and emo girls and shit like that. Being biracial in high school was kind of shitty because I didn't quite fit in with the black kids. I didn't quite fit in with the white kids. So it was just like I had to find a group that had a mix of people, and I found that in the goth group, the emo group. And I never really was goth or emo, but I just kind of hung out with those guys because they accepted me and they were cool. And then, after high school, most of them became druggies or got pregnant, like right out of high school, and they're still working at fucking like grocery stores and going to jail and shit. A lot of people I went to high school with, I actually researched them on mugshots.com because that's what I do in my spare time. And I found out that a lot of them went to jail for drug-related charges, selling and doing drugs, which was interesting. There was a girl who actually rejected me my 9th grade year, and she's been arrested like 8 times, and I'm like, damn, I am so glad she rejected me. Because it's funny like that, because you know what, the people who treat you like shit when you're in high school, a lot of times life just doesn't work out for them. And she looks fucking strung out, like she looks horrible. like worse than someone you would see on Jerry Springer. Like fucking bum fights terrible. Like she looks awful. Um, I was really into anime. I wouldn't say I was an otaku or a weeaboo. I really just love Dragon Ball Z. I watched Yu-Gi-Oh. Obviously, I watched Pokemon when I was younger, but I wouldn't say that was pretty much the extent. I watched Monster Rancher. What was another one? Card Captors, just because it was on Kids WB and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I was a weeaboo or an otaku. I just think I liked those anime shows, and you would occasionally see me wearing a Dragon Ball Z shirt, but it wasn't. That was about the extent of it. Um, I've gotten in fights. There was this one time where I was sitting in. It was world history, I want to say. There was this kid named Chad, and this kid was actually biracial too, and he had an afro too. But he was a skinny little chicken shit kid, and like he would always talk shit to me. He would always talk shit to me. There was like two or three kids in that class that always talked shit to me, and one day I just had enough. And so he was sitting right behind me, right? And he said something. I don't remember what he said to me. And I got up, I flipped over his desk while he was sitting in the desk. And everyone was like, "Oh!" And I got a referral for that. But I never really signed the referral, so it didn't really count. Damn, dude. Um, I've seen some crazy shit. I saw girls rolling in the hallways, like doing drugs and shit. I've seen uh, girls giving hand jobs on the bus on the way home. You know, the normal stuff you see in high school. People doing smoking weed in the bathroom. I never smoked. I never smoked weed in my life. I just recently started vaping, to be honest with you. I'm pretty innocent as far as that goes. But I did know a lot. I did know a lot of stoners growing up. What were my friends like? Most of my friends were a year or two younger than I was, except for my best friend Matt, who was just a little younger than me. He was like a month younger than me, and we were best friends, but we were rivals. Like we were rivals in Yu-Gi-Oh. We were rivals in fighting video games mostly. Like he was really good at Guilty Gear and Super Smash Brothers. I was really good at Tekken and Mortal Kombat. You know, the more manlier fighting games. But I digress. Yeah, we had a really healthy rivalry. Let me see. His name was Matt. Other friends, Evan, Brianna. They were like a couple years younger than me. They were in the grade below me, actually. And then there was Dylan. He ended up being a little hellion, a little hood rat. Then there was Sham. Sham was cool. He was a little Indian kid, but he was really into rap, so me and him could vibe a lot. A kid named Tori. He was one of those cool stoner kids that all the girls liked. He ended up moving to Hawaii. Um, the shitty part about my high school experience is that's when all my friends moved away. Around my senior year, I had no friends left that lived in the neighborhood still, so it was just kind of sad. My best friend, he actually ended up letting World of Warcraft take over his life, and he actually got out of high school early. Like he did the early out program in 2007, like a year before we were supposed to graduate. I'm assuming he got an equivalent degree, or not degree, but diploma. Um, Band field trips. Those were fun. The band field trips were fun. We went to Stone Mountain for like a spring break trip. That was cool, man. We went to Stone Mountain, seeing the CNN headquarters. We went to the Coca-Cola plant. That was amazing. We got to try all kinds of sodas. The Underground Mall. That was a fun field trip. If we could have done that again, that would have been so amazing. Then we went to what you call it, a lot of band competitions. We were a competitive band, military style drill band. We competed statewide, and we did pretty damn well. We weren't the best, but we were in a lot of competitions we were in. We would place in the top 10. We were pretty impressive. Lake Howell Silver Regiment, look them up. Very impressive band. Now we weren't the best. There are some really good bands out there like Tarpon Springs and Seminole Warhawk Band and what was another one? East Lake. And stuff like that. We're based on the Silver Regiment was based on something called DCI, Drum Corps International, and there was actually a lot of people from our band who ended up going to a drum corps. Most of which was I think one was called Vanguard or something like that, and Crown. Crown was the one that most of the people that came from our band went to. Crown and Blue Devils and stuff like that. We had instructors from the Blue Devils, actually. If you know what that is, kudos to you. Yeah, and I graduated in '08. When I was 15, I had my first job at Carmike Cinemas, and then, that evolved into me working at Regal in my junior year. I got my first car. It was an Altima. Nissan Altima 98, I want to say, and it died with then less than a year of me having it. But it was my first car, and I took a lot of pride in having that car. It was green, like spinach green. It was really ugly, but it was mine, so I appreciated having that car. Um, um, that's about it. As far as high school goes, how much time are we? 17 minutes. Holy shit, guys. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you weren't too bored by my ramblings about high school. But thanks for watching. Once again, this is the Mayhem. Peace out.